Does the eyebrow first and eyeshadow technique still work? In this video, I will show you how. And for the first time, I'll be unfiltered and show you all the parts we usually cut out to sound like a pro. Till then, keep on watching. First, we have to start with skin prep. Although I didn't know why I started like this because I was going to start with the brows. I feel like it was a waste of product I shouldn't have. But yes, it still helped because it helped me prime the brows very well. Like you can see, I had to mattify the brows very well so that it can absorb the product or pencil that I was going to use. Although I've not done this in a while, so it was kind of strange. Later on, when I tried to draw with my gel liner, which I always use, I found out that it was a bit difficult. So I went in with my setting powder to pat that product down. This is why I said I don't know why I did with the skin prep first. Now I had to do it to make sure that at least the gel that I'm using with my brush would glide on smoothly. Usually you would want to use a pencil for this, but I'm always a gel girl, so I just went with what I'm used to, despite the fact that I'm trying a new technique that I've not tried in a while. Now for this process, I used my brow tamer first, then I used my brow gel to outline. After that, I filled it in, and now to the third step, I'm going to conceal. These three steps are my major and ultimate step to achieve the best brow ever. First, to outline. Remember when I was finding it difficult to outline, I had to use the powder to make sure it's dry so that I can outline well, because the outline is very important. Then I went into filling, and now I'm doing the third step, which is conceal. Very, very important. I have a tutorial on this channel where I teach you how to get the perfect brows for your clients. I'm going to leave the link here so that you can watch that video. After the brows, we're moving on to eyeshadow. Now for eyeshadow, I'm making use of Cendies eyeshadow base. To be honest, guys, for some reason, every time I try to use primer or this eyeshadow base, always doesn't sit well. Guys, I'm usually used to using my concealer or my foundation as my base, so trying to use this product, it doesn't always work for me. I just had to use setting powder to just pat it down so that it will make sense. Every time you have seen me use this for tutorial, just know that I struggle with it before posting it on YouTube. I'm making use of the Midi Brown eyeshadow from Cendies Beauty palette. If you're a beginner watching this tutorial, I want you to focus on the colors used so that if you have any eyeshadow palette, you can replicate this exactly. Because you're a beginner, you don't want to break the bank, you don't want to go and start buying every eyeshadow you see any makeup artist on YouTube or on Instagram use. So focus on the colors being used and try to use what you have to replicate this. I am not done with the eyes. It was just looking too messy, so I just had to wipe out all the fallout and whatever is left under the eyes. At this point, looking at this video now, I should have just left the eyes like this, but I already had what I had in mind and I was going straight for it. I wanted a look that had pigment, I wanted a smoky effect. My plan is okay eyes first for the base and then use my pigment selections to do the rest. This is the brush I use, guys. This is a perfect blending brush to use for your eyeshadow. Next up, I'm making use of this orange shade from my 7 Beauty eyeshadow palette just to add a pop of color, although I didn't really see why I did it, but then it's a smoky eyes. Whenever I'm doing a black smoky eyes, I just like a bit of color to it. Then I'm going back with my black eyeshadow just to make sure that the smoky is really smoky. Focus on the lid. Focus on the lid. Yeah, after this, I'm going to make use of my glitter primer. I got this one off AliExpress. Very cheap, very affordable. Perfect dupe for the NYX. Then I'm making use of these colors of pigment. Dear MEA, please learn this and learn it now. Whenever you're trying to do a shoot or whenever you're trying to do a look, make sure that the person, the model, the client, whoever, wears something very neutral, maybe white or black, because her outfit for this shoot is actually orange, and I was trying to create something with a touch of orange on her eye, but because of what she was wearing, unconsciously I was now creating and using pigment that was reflecting exactly the colored gown she was wearing. If you can see, the eyes is instantly matching with the outfit that she's wearing, so it is very important that you keep your colors neutral so that you can properly match the outfit that the person is wearing. Back to the tutorial. So you should always learn to arrange the pigment that you want to use before you start, although it wasn't giving me what I want. That's why I kept going in with more glue and then more pigment, more glue and more pigment. At the end of the day, when I was done, I had to make sure that I cleaned out the excess pigment from the areas I didn't want it. So to do this, I make use of a spoolie, a clean spoolie brush. Then for the smoky effect that I wanted, I went in with my black eyeshadow from Midi Brown's palette to smoke out the outer V of her eyes. That's the outer corner of her eyes, and then brought it into the crease area a little bit just to get this look. Can you see how it looks? Perfect. And that is that for the eyes. I'm just going to clean up under the eyes again to clean out all the fallout because I'm about to start the skin work. So I'm going back to re-prep her face again. I made use of the moisturizer and I also made use of the mattifying primer. This is a bridal shoot. Her makeup needed to last. Guys, I lost the clip for this skin work, but this is what it looks like. I'm just going to skip to the points where I started to highlight. So for highlight, I made use of the Huda Beauty foundation in the shade Toffee. So you want to be very careful So I know this is the step we usually used to do before, and I was just trying to challenge myself to see if I still have it. Like, there's no rule to these things. You can start from your skin work, or you can start from the eyes like we are doing right now. So feel free to explore, feel free to go out of the norm, feel free to try on new products. It won't bite. I'm moving on to setting under her face, but before that I have to blend again under her eyes to be sure that everything is properly blended before I set the setting powder. For the setting powder, I'm making use of my Merak setting powder and Tehila setting powder. So I mix both together. I mix both together because the Merak is a bit dry, but the Tehila has a very blurring effect that I also don't like. So mixing both of the setting powder together gives me the perfect consistency that I need. So like I said, there are no rules to this thing, but for me, first thing I do is to apply the setting powder, press it into her skin completely first, and then I add more layers just so that I can get that finish that I want, because I really want the under eye bright, and I'm using the setting powder to make the under eye bright as opposed to using a lighter shade of concealer or foundation like I would usually do. After that, I'm making use of my powder from Veebeauty. Guys, I literally dumped this palette, but I picked it up one day when I was trying to like do a model's makeup, and ever since that day I have not dropped it down. I used that powder, and look at it, it has hit pan. I'm going to get a new one. It is so good. If you're a beginner, this is a palette that you need to get to start with. For my contour, I'm making use of the Bronzey by Yglam palette, and I'm just making use of their rich contour shade there to contour and sculpt her face. I don't really do cream contour first, so when I use products like this and it gives me what I want, I just stick to it. And I'm also going to follow up with the Annie's blush palette as well, and I'm just going to mix like 1 or 2 shades. For blush, I really like to be detailed, because I realized that by the time you are done with the makeup, everything would have settled in because you applied the blush a long time ago. So adding so much blush and spraying the face later for everything to sit in properly is what I always do. Then I'm going to contour the nose, and I'm making use of that bronzy palette. For contour, you have to use like 1 shade lighter. For the side of the face, use 2 shades darker. For the nose, contour 1 shade darker. When I'm done contouring, I'm going to do a reverse contour so that nose is snatched. So this is how you do it. And then you don't just want to leave the setting powder by the side of the nose. You also want to spread it out to under the eyes, so when you are blending, it will be easier that way. Next is eyeliner. I'm making use of the Cendies Beauty gel eyeliner, and ever since I picked up this eyeliner, I have not stopped using it. If you're a beginner watching this video, this is a good dupe for English. It is waterproof and it is transfer proof. To apply your eyeliner correctly, you need to maintain a steady hand. You can make use of this tiny precise eyeliner brush. There are brushes that are made for eyeliner, but if you have tried it and you can't, go for an angle brush. Ensure that it is flat to give you that sharp wing, or even if you make a mistake as a beginner, you can always use your concealer to correct. But I would always advise maintain a steady hand. Use my steps. I've done several videos on use my steps, and you'll be able to have the best wing eyeliner ever. If you still want me to make a dedicated video for wing eyeliner, let me know in the comment section. So for mascara, to catch out all those fallout and remove them before I pop on the lashes, I'm making use of the Blossom Scandalous Duo Mascara. It's a 2-in-1 mascara for the bottom and upper lashes. Very good. I'm just going to pop on my lashes now and then move over to smoking under the eyes, because I really wanted that smoky effect, and I'm just going to do that using the Meet the Brown eyeshadow palette from Cendies Beauty. Now to dust under the eyes, I'm going to use my powder from Zaron Cosmetics. Guys, this is a perfect dupe for MAC. I have dupe for everything. I literally have dupe for everything. If it is doing the work that MAC does, I'm going to stick to it, and that is what this Zaron does for me. I'm making use of the shade Sand just to dust off under her eyes. So you want to pat and pat and pat till that powder or the setting powder that you used to bake is out. The reason why you're seeing this clip is because I want to let you know that it is okay to go back to your work and emphasize on what you have already done. Now to set everything we have done so far, I'm making use of this Zikel spray. It is called Seal. This does the magic. All that powder effect, all that setting powder, all that compact powder, it blends everything. Let's call this the dupe for Charlotte Tilbury. Now back to, it is okay to go back to touch up your makeup in case there's anything that is not sitting well with you. Please do it. You don't need to explain to anybody, and I'm showing you in this tutorial that it is actually okay. I've touched the eyes, I've touched the brows. Now I'm using my mascara from Blossom just to make sure that that bottom long lashes is very, very defined before I go with the lips. And I'm very sure while doing the lips, if I see anything that needs adjustment, I would still go back to adjust. So it is okay. This is just the part that we don't get to show you. All you see is the whole perfect finish look, but then there were still other touch-ups added to it that were not even shown in the process before. So in real time, when you're doing your client's makeup, it is fine. Now for her lips, I'm making use of a Nigerian brand. Nigerian brands, I've made use of so many Nigerian brands that are really good. So if you don't have money to buy all them high-end brands, please make use of these Nigerian brands. And this one I'm using is from Debilosta. Then the other nude shades I use is from Beyond Beauty. It is called Beauty or BB. And then I'm just using my gloss from Avo Cosmetics, all Nigerian brands, and that is it. If you have been receiving value so far from this tutorial, why don't you give us a heart emoji in the comment section and let us know if there are any looks you would like us to create. We are here to teach and we're here to serve. So for this look, I wanted to add a little bit of glow, so I made use of actually a pigment, but it's silver, so that's what I'm using on her nose and the side of her face. Then to add that wet and dewy effect that you saw earlier, I'm going to make use of my Miss Metics wet balm, and this is how I do it. I just take it and pop it on the face, on the forehead, on the nose, on the sides of the face, and on the jaw. I will leave a detailed list of all the products and shades used for this tutorial in the description box below, so do well to check that. While doing that, you can as well subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and let us know what you think about the look so far. Now to hold the makeup all together, I'm making use of my Sylivimak spray. This is also deep for cryoline, it's also deep for one size, but it's a Nigerian brand. If you're a beginner here on this channel, I have tons of other tutorials here that can really help you grow and can really inspire and motivate you to be the best version of yourself. Do well to check those videos out on this channel, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.